Good morning and welcome back to Mobility Matters. I'm your host, Javier Betancourt, Executive Director of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, or CITT. We're a quasi-independent agency of Miami-Dade County charged with overseeing your half-penny sales tax for transportation. Today we have a couple of great guests, both of whom are representing District 2 in the county. And we'll talk about what District 2 encompasses, some of the cities, some of the landmarks people may be aware of. So we have first and foremost the County Commissioner for District 2, Marleine Bastien. Did I say that really?
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And we have the Commissioner's appointee to the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust for District 2, Member Omar Bradford. Welcome, Omar.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So thank you both for being here. I know it's a bit of a long slog from your district, which is in the northeast, kind of maybe north part of the county. Mm-hmm. So hopefully traffic wasn't too bad getting here, but that's one of the things we're here to talk about, right?
Wasn't that bad. Could be worse.
Okay, good.
Yes,
good.
Actually, we made it faster than we expected.
Oh, good. We don't hear that a lot.
We got a great driver.
Good to know.
He was able to cut some corners here.
That's great. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about what District 2 is first and foremost. So where in the county is that, and what are some of the things people might recognize inside the district?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me and having us. So District 2 covers part of Miami, North Miami Beach, Biscayne Garden, and part of Opaloka.
Wow, we have a lot of cities,
Yeah.
and some unincorporated as well, right?
Yes, of course. There are over almost 259,000 constituents there. So this is a very diverse district, which I like, of course. It's a good place for for families to live, work, and play. That's my vision, to turn District 2 into a place where people feel comfortable, families feel comfortable to live in.
Great. Mm-hmm. And Omar, you live in District 2 as well. You have to in order to be her appointee. So where in the district do you live?
I do. I live in an area called Biscayne Gardens.
Okay.
Beautiful pocket of Miami-Dade County. I moved there in 2017. And despite, looking at other areas and, just talking to my wife and sort of always keeping our eyes and ears open, we don't think that there's a better place for our family than North Miami, in particular Biscayne Gardens within District 2. We spoke about the diversity of the area. We really love that, and we think that it's growing. The diversity is growing sort of day after day. It's really coming into its own, and we really appreciate it. It's got everything we need.
Mm-hmm.
Now, neither one of you were born in Miami, so you were born.
I was born in Haiti.
And when did you come here?
Well, I came here in 1981.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a long time. As soon as I came, I started to work as a volunteer. Some of you watching may remember the Haitian Refugee Center with the late Father Gérard Jean-Jus, who was a well-known activist fighting for the basic rights of due process for Haitian refugees and others. Arriving at that time in the late 70s, early 80s. Okay. So as soon as I came, I volunteered at the Haitian Refugee Center. Then I was hired as a paralegal and trained as a paralegal by some of the best immigration lawyers in the nation. And then while going to school, I'm a Miami-Dade graduate, Miami-Dade Community College graduate. And then Miami-Dade, and then for undergraduate and graduate school at FIU, Florida International University. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, even though most of my work involves management and then organizing before being elected to represent District 2.
Fantastic. And Omar, where are you from?
Well, I was born in 1981, and I was born in Brooklyn, New York. Okay. Grew up outside of Baltimore, Maryland, Columbia, Maryland. Ultimately went to school, undergrad at NYU back in New York City, and moved here in 2007 for law school at the University of Miami. Okay. I've been here ever since.
I don't know what you do for FI. Is it that law? I'm not quite sure.
Open to.
And so I believe this is your first elected office. But as you said, you were already active in the community. I know you've won every award under the sun for your work as a social worker. You founded, I know, an organization called the Family Action Network.
Yes.
And so how did all of that lead you to running for elected office? And do you consider this like an extension of your work?
It's a very good question. So, after graduate school, of course, I was no longer able to stay at the Haitian Refugee Center. So I was hired right after graduate school by Jackson Memorial Hospital as a licensed clinical social worker. My role was of a discharge planner. So I worked with families and children with cancer, sickle cell anemia, and families and children with sickle cell anemia. And while at Jackson, I realized that for the most part, what brought folks to the hospitals, the disease, the illness, was not the most challenging things that they were facing in life. Because my role was basically to make sure that when they were discharged, that they had everything they need, whether it's medication, a place to stay, money to buy the medication, placements if they didn't have a place to go to. And that's when the idea of founding FAM, which initially was called Femmes Haïtiennes de Miami, which means Haitian Women of Miami, to provide basic wraparound services to families. But as the organization evolved over the years, we realized that, the entire Miami-Dade County needed access to our services, mental health, crisis intervention, access to healthcare, access to housing, access to good jobs, preparing people for jobs, providing them with job training. So we went through a 5-year name-changing process. People would think that it would be so easy to just change the name of an organization, but it wasn't that easy.
Yeah.
Most people thought that we could continue to provide services to the entire Miami-Dade County and still call the organization Femmes Haïtiennes de Miami, Haitian Women of Miami. But we eventually called it FAM. We retained the SIG, but it's Family Action Network Movement. In Creole, it's Conseil Famille en Action, Family Action Network Movement, and then which provides wraparound services to families. Whatever challenges that they are facing in life, we have mental health professionals, we have job trainers, we have people to help them. But we go further because we don't consider ourselves a charity. Our main goal, really our priority, is to give people the tools to contribute to their own transformation and empowerment.
Right.
Whether it's to find a better job, we provide them with the job training, and we also give people, help people, gain their voices. Some people think that government, they don't have anything to say about government. They don't have a role to play in local government. They don't have a role to play in the legislature. They don't have a role to play in what's going on in Washington, D.C. But at FAM, not only we give them the tools to contribute to their own transformation and empowerment, but we also help them find a way to translate and to communicate what they're going through. That's how I met our mayor, Daniela Levin-Cava, by organizing our residents to go to Tallahassee to meet with lawmakers on both sides of the aisle.
Just when she was also a social worker?
She's also, as you know, she's also a social worker. She's also an MSW. And that's how we met, by organizing groups of residents, as constituents, to take them to Tallahassee and to take them to Washington, D.C. to meet with lawmakers on both sides of the aisles, because I strongly believe that no one can speak better to what they're going through in life than those who are directly impacted. So that's what FAM does in a nutshell. Provide wraparound services, but also giving people the tools to express themselves and to contribute to making the changes that they need to strengthen their families, because strong families make strong communities.
That's right.
Yeah.
And strong communities make a strong nation.
Strong
right?
nation,
Absolutely.
yeah.
As you were speaking, I was reminded of the saying, give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man a fish, he eats for life. Right? So, and it sounds like that's your philosophy as well.
Exactly.
Give them those tools to empower them.
exactly. And you asked me how did that translate into running for office? So at farm, so I told you about what I do, but I realized I could have a bigger impact as an elected official. I ran in 2008 for Congress, but I didn't make it. And I said to myself, you know what? I will never run again. I will never go through it again. It was a very challenging.
hard.
It's
Yeah,
hard.
it
It
is.
was a very challenging process. But as the Commission on Money's team, CITT became available because it was termed out. Constituents started to come to me. Said, Marleine, you need to do it. You have to do it. Who knows best what we need to transform our lives, and that's what it is about. You have to do it. You have to do it. So, I spoke. I have 3 sons. I talked to my family, and then make the decision to really go, because I realized that. As an elected official, I will have a chance to not only have a bigger platform, right, but I will be able to do some things that I wanted to do when I tried to go to the federal government to become a member of Congress, to pass legislation that will impact thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided to run. I was considered an underdog. I was because I did, as a licensed clinical social worker, the executive director of a not-for-profit. I wasn't able to raise a lot of money. My opponent raised a lot of money. It was, but hard work
Here you are.
pays.
Here you are.
Because nothing works better than going into the community and talking, being in touch with the people in the community, knowing what's going on, what challenges that they are facing. And since 1981, since I came as a young person, as a youngster, that's what I've been doing. 2 days after I arrived, I volunteered. I consider volunteering as the best way to connect. And through FAM, through organizing, through volunteering over the years, and I'm still volunteering, I've been in touch with the people. And that really, worked for me. And I was elected to represent all the residents in District 2. And I'm enjoying it.
Well, we love having you at the county. You're doing amazing work. And
Thank you.
one of the wonderful things you did is appoint this volunteer to the Transportation Trust. So, and you have a very different background, Omar. You're not in social work, but as I understand it, you're an attorney, and then you're also an agent. So tell us about your journey professionally and how that led you to the CITT.
Thank you for asking. Ultimately, I think, the rare individual that I knew exactly what I wanted to do when I was 15, 16 years old. I remember I was in a oratory competition, and I won, and afterwards they were, all right, young man, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said that I wanted to be a lawyer and a sports agent and a film producer. They were like, wow. That's a lot, And I stayed focused on that mission really sort of ever since. I watched Jerry Maguire, and I watched Pulp Fiction, and that was it. Changed my life. I was like, these are the things that I want to do. I had the privilege to go to New York University, and I had the wisdom, I guess, to take advantage of all of the traveling opportunities that the school offered. I did a semester at Morehouse College in Atlanta. I did a semester in Madrid, Spain. I was a part of a scholars group that would take an international trip every year. So we went to Rio de Janeiro. We went to Vancouver. We went to Ghana.
That's great. Where do I sign up? This sounds fantastic.
It was remarkable. But what really stuck with me in each of these cities that I was fortunate enough to travel to was sort of what it was like getting around. Which cities were really convenient for that purpose. And for a young man, that makes all the difference in the world.
Right.
I couldn't afford to jump on a plane everywhere or travel the expensive way. I needed convenient and effective ways to travel. So it was noteworthy to me. And of course, I was living in New York City, which is, a transportation hub, and they do things in a way that I think are exemplary. And I also noticed some things that weren't exactly perfect. And I would always take note of that. My life was the train every day, at least oftentimes, 2 hours a day on the train. So, when I came to Miami, I recognized that I was in a younger city. I was in a newer, sort of fresher environment than a lot of the other cities that I've been to. And, that comes with growing and developing infrastructure, growing and developing transportation, and, being all the way down south in Coral Gables for school. I didn't really know about much of the county to the north. I was really just sort of down south. Ultimately, I wound up sort of progressively moving further north. I moved to a place on Coral Way, and then I was in Edgewater. Ultimately, now we're in Biscayne Gardens. So I've been able to really see what the transportation needs are, sort of from down Coral Gables all the way up to North Miami. And it's something that I'm passionate about. I've always been passionate about it. And I was very fortunate to be tapped by prior Commissioner Bastien. And I've really enjoyed working under your leadership and, with my colleagues at the Trust. And I think that we're doing impactful work. And I think we're doing work that is really meaningful on a day-to-day basis to a lot of people. And then I was greatly fortunate to be reappointed by the Honorable Commissioner Bastien, who I don't say that lightly or as a just a turn of phrase. The work that you do, Commissioner, is truly honorable. You've been doing it for a long time, and it's really important to individual families and the community at large. So we appreciate you, and we want you to keep going. And whatever we can do to support, we will continue to.
Thank you.
And there's a lot of kind of exciting projects underway or kind of in the planning phases within your district. And we talk ad nauseum here on this program about the SMART plan, the Strategic Miami Area Rapid Transit Plan, to expand rapid transit to all corners of the county. Some commissioners don't have a corridor. Some commissioners have one. You have two. You have the Northeast Corridor and you have the North Corridor. So, and some exciting news, right, on the Northeast Corridor is it seems like we have a commitment, at least from the prior administration, for the federal funding.
Yes.
The state has committed funding. We have committed the half-penny funds.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Northeast Corridor and where it's at, and are you confident that that's going to happen in the near future?
Well, I'm confident. As you said, the resources came to the county before my time. But one thing that I know, because I've been dealing with families who, for the most part, have to rely on public transportation to get to work. And Miami-Dade County being what I consider the capital of the Americas, where people come from all around the world, in addition to those who have to use public transportation to get to their work. Our economy is based heavily on tourism, and most of the people who work in tourism, in our hotels, restaurants, they rely on public transportation. So as a candidate, improving and making sure that people are able to get to work fast, for my vision for public transportation to be fast, efficient, right, remains whole. So that's why I'm so happy about the connections that are being made through the Northeast corridors that will allow people to connect faster and then to get from one point to the other faster. And
affordably, right? Because Brightline is there now, but it's not necessarily affordable.
So we still need to work on the affordability because you probably know that there are people who have to who have 2-3 jobs.
Yes. Yeah.
And then they imagine having to use public transportation to connect to this one, that one. It costs money. So affordability is something that moving forward, I'd like to look at because I receive I hear from constituents all the time. It has to be cheaper. It needs to be cheaper, especially now when the cost of living continues to increase,
right.
And yet salaries have remained stagnant over the years. And this is another issue that we need to address, because if we want our economy to remain strong, we have to create opportunities for people to be able to move, faster and more efficiently and cost effectively from one point to the other, and that's something that I'm really concerned about. So I'm happy about some of the work that is being done. I know it's gonna take a lot of investment. And since I've been elected, I've invested a lot in the infrastructure, making sure that millions are invested to fix the roads. And District 2 had its share, as you probably know, since you live in the district, of problems, with holes everywhere you turn. We get so many calls from constituents. Why is it that when we go to the other districts, the roads are paved and smooth, and then when we come to District 2, we have holes all over. So I've invested, because I like to say I don't like to talk. I like to really do the work and then action. And then I've invested money. That's why wherever you turn, whether it's off of 151st Street, I have a list of places where constructions are. I'm going to put my glasses on because I cannot read without them, where work is being done. As you know, for those of you who walk or drive around District 2, I've invested $5 million in road improvement and infrastructure projects, And some of the places where work is being done includes Northwest 115th Street from 17th Avenue to 22nd, 87th Street from 30th Road to 84th Terrace, 30th Place from 30th Place to 83rd Terrace, which I've already mentioned, from 167 down to 28th Street. Investment work is being done, and people have called me and told me, Commissioner, we are so happy. Wherever we turn in District 2, we see that the roads are being repaired. So I'm very proud of that, and I know you can also speak to that. And I'd like to hear your feedback on that, because when I promise something, I want to deliver. I promise to invest in the infrastructure. Plus, there is a connection with transportation.
Of course.
If you want people to transportation to become faster and more efficient, you need good roads.
And the reality is, we talk a lot about transit, and that's largely our focus right now, because that's where we're furthest behind. But the reality is, most people still drive, right? And they need good roads to drive on. And the reality is also that the buses run on these roads, and so even when you're trying to promote transit, you still need good roadways.
Absolutely.
So there is obviously a justification for investing in roadways as well. And Omar, your experience with those projects that the commissioner is advancing, do you see it happening? Do you see the progress?
Absolutely. I can absolutely attest to it on a personal level. I mean, first of all, aesthetically, from 2017 until now, there is just a different and sort of more inviting and sophisticated sort of look to the district. And I think a lot of that has to do with the investment in the roadways. It not only makes it safer, of course, but it makes the growing, I think that our district is probably one of the fastest growing districts, and it makes it sort of more feasible to handle the increase of traffic. Like even something as simple as on 135th, they built a median sort of around North Miami Ave, between North Miami Ave and about Northeast 2nd Avenue, I believe. And it's made a world of difference. It makes the turns coming in, it makes everyone, it forces everyone to drive more safely, ultimately. Right. And, where we have the issues throughout the county of flooding and wet streets, et cetera, it's a real sort of safety hazard if those roads are not, hadn't been improved.
Right. And these roadway improvements often include some kind of drainage improvement as well, to your flooding point.
And there are improvements being made. I think that, there's still some room to go, but I'm quite appreciative of Mayor Cava and Commissioner Bastien and even prior Commissioner Monesteam's attention to these issues because they really affect, folks' day-to-day lives and, and it's going in the right direction, which I can attest to personally because things were were pretty rough, years ago.
Yeah. So I've invested a lot in infrastructure because I believe that, especially in terms of people moving from one point to the other, we have some big events coming in Miami-Dade County. Not only that people have to get to work, but we have some big events coming. People from all around the world, they want to come to Miami-Dade County.
Yeah.
We have the World Cup coming.
Yeah. Not too far outside of your district.
2026.
Yes.
In
Just outside.
my district. And we're talking about the North Corridor connections, right?
Right, on 27th.
From 167 to all the way to 27th Avenue. My goal is to make sure that when people come from all around the world, they are able to say, wow, they are able to move. I mean, we're talking about millions of people converging to Miami-Dade County. We have major sports events, in District 1, which is very close to my district. And then you're all going to use, the Northwest 7th Avenue corridor.
Right.
Major music events, as you know, in downtown Miami. So it's not only about District 2. It's about making sure that when people come, they see this big metropolitan area lively, and then when where they can move after they leave the sport event, they can go to our restaurants, they can eat, they can walk around. My vision for District 2 is to create a space where people, the transportation can go fluidly, but also I want to create pathways for bike roads, for families to be safe riding their bikes. How many times have we read, people being killed, bicyclists being killed, just for exercising. I want to change that. I want District 2 to be a place where families young professionals can come and live, work, and play.
Fantastic, and it's well on its way, right? And so you talked about bicycle pedestrian connectivity and safety, and I know that's something that we focus on at the CITT. The Underline, which is not too far from here, is a great example of that. Are there active bicycle pedestrian protected trails or anything being constructed in the district, or are things being planned or conceived of? Anything specific or?
This is something I'm looking into.
Okay.
But I know that in other districts, there are efforts to create these paths for bicyclists and then even pedestrians to be able to walk around safely. I'm also concerned about people, the bus riders, right, being able to be protected.
Right.
From the elements. In my districts, most of the bus stops are not covered, for example, and then I'm working on legislation to make sure that we not only in my district but all bus stations are covered to protect people from the element. I'm also working on legislation to have hydration. Not only that they are covered, but to have hydration available because of
it gets hot
heat.
Here. Yes. Yeah.
Because the heat.
Hot and rainy.
So people there have been reports of people passing out, waiting at bus stops. So these are investments that I'm making, that I plan to make, because Miami-Dade County, like I said, we are the capital of the Americas. We need to make it a better place for not only our residents, but for people who are coming from all over the world, to partake in our county, partake in our games, in our spending money, investing. That's our goal. That's my goal.
And those are tremendously important initiatives. And I just want to make clear that you've got a partner in not only me but in the entire CITT, because those are the things that are completely and directly aligned with what we prioritize. So ultimately, anything that I can do with respect to those specific initiatives, it's absolutely, it'd be my pleasure.
And it's not all in the county. The county is, you know, a large organization. It's well resourced, but you can't do it all. And we do have municipal partners, right? And they
Yeah.
get 20% of the funds, and you have several cities in District 2. Omar, talk a little bit about what we do with the cities and some of the great things that the cities are doing as part of that mobility puzzle.
Sure. I was honored to be at the ribbon cutting ceremony for the North Miami trolley. And I can just say that just seeing, I mean, they're brand new, they're beautiful, but seeing from that ribbon cutting ceremony to today, how we've increased the ridership of those trolleys has made an amazing difference in our community. It creates options, and in this case, it's a free option. Things such as we had the city of North Miami come and present to us at our last CITT meeting, and very practical things such as the pedestrian bridge that goes over the canal, and repairs being made to that are making North Miami more transportation friendly, whether it be pedestrian wise, like being more walkable, having options to get over to Biscayne if you're more on the east side. And of course, we see a tremendous amount of housing developments, apartment complexes, et cetera, coming up. And, I'm proud that these things are in place, sort of going into what is sort of obviously a boon for the district. And there is going to be quite a population increase, but I do think that that the district is prepared for that, and the district had some really wise foresight to really start getting those things in place. And what we do at the CITT is we really focus on sort of practical things that really make that half penny contribution that everyone makes really maximize that to get the very most out of that. And all across the county you see it, but I do think that District 2 on the north side is a shining example of where that where we are and where we can be in the future. We have the opportunity to be a cutting edge transportation city globally, and we're large, right? Miami-Dade County is very large when compared to other American counties. So we do have some challenges and some intricacies that we navigate as a result. But the size of the county makes it all the more important that the work that we're doing in District 2 and across the county is really going to pay dividends in the future, because the population growth. I think at one point there was a thought like, oh, it's just COVID, people coming from New York, and this is sort of just a moment in time. Well, that moment in time is continuing, and
we are 5 years later, and we're still growing.
Exactly. So, and there's no reason to think that it would slow. And we're blessed to have an influx of people from all over the world coming here, from South America to the Caribbean to other parts of the United States. So it's going to be. It's a work in progress. It's always going to be a work in progress. But the fact that the county is so focused on it, particularly in District 2, is a reason for optimism.
And our cities as well. Yeah, absolutely.
No question.
And I love that you touched on housing, because there is definitely this kind of symbiotic relationship, right, between transportation and housing.
Of course.
We want people to live close to where they work, but if they don't, how are they going to get there efficiently and affordably? You have been recently appointed as chair of the Housing Committee. So number one, congratulations. I can think of no one better for that. So how do you see housing kind of fitting into that puzzle? Are we looking to provide more workforce and affordable housing near transit? And what is your focus as chair of the committee?
Well, I was reappointed because 2 years ago I was placed on the commission as chair of the housing by Chairman Gilbert, and then Chairman Rodriguez reappointed me. There is a correlation between housing and transportation, as you clearly indicated. Of course, not only that, we also know that there is a housing crisis,
Right.
and affordability crisis. People, because salaries have remained stagnant, people are having, a lot of challenges with the high cost of housing. So my goal is really to develop, public-private partnership to build not only workforce housing, but also to build affordable housing that people who are on the lower threshold in terms of salary can afford. Because when we talk about affordable housing, we have to be very careful, because workforce housing is not affordable for everyone.
Right. Still out of reach for a lot.
You have to at least make $90,000 to $100,000. So that I'm very, very concerned about making sure that those who live here, they are able to stay here. But also, I'm very concerned about making sure that our young professionals, when they go to university, most of them they cannot live in Miami-Dade County. Right. My goal is to develop housing that is affordable for all of our residents, because we are blessed to live in a very diverse community. We have people from all over the world. We want to make it inclusive for all, and so I want to create new housing for folks who are coming in, but we also want those who have been living here to be able to stay, and those to own their home to be able to stay. Right. So it is challenging, but I think this is something that we can do. This is not something I can do alone, but I think all of us on the commission, we are committed to making sure that in Miami-Dade County, people are able to live, work, and play in quality, housing, quality apartments.
No, it's absolutely critical. I'm the father of 2 young girls who are going to turn 14 in 2 days, so I'm really excited about that. But I do worry about whether they're going to be able to live in Miami when they grow up, because it's out of control. Yeah. And it's really just such a difficult problem.
Yeah, it is shocking to know that even some of our teachers cannot afford to stay in Miami-Dade County. Our police officers, face challenges when they try to live here. So that's something that we need to solve. And then the way we solve it is to making sure that we create more, we build more housing, and then we make sure that they are affordable for those who cannot, afford.
And how do we do that, I wonder, because it's most of the housing that is being built is luxury market rate, which people can't afford. How does government incentivize developers or require developers to build affordable workforce? Is it through tax incentives? Is it
there are
bonuses?
Well, there are tax incentives, but it depends on the commissioner. Right. District 2, as you know, has a lot of opportunities for developers, and I invite people to come. So I'm very strong on mixed use, where high-end professionals can come, those who can pay more, can stay. But those who cannot pay more, can also find, enjoy, a good place to live, a quality place to live. So I favor the mixed-use housing, and then there are tax incentives. There are ways they can come and access these resources. I tell people that District 2 is open. For business. It's open, and whoever has a project that shows that you're able to develop this mixed use, you're welcome. And then we provide training for them. Since I've been elected, I've had town hall meetings. I have an open day policy where developers can come and talk to me. And if you have a project that can really help people access, quality housing, I'm open for it. But I favor mixed use.
And what a desirable area the district is just for that. I mean, the fact that, you can get over the causeway to Val Harbor in 7 minutes from Biscayne, while at the same time, you're right at the Golden Glades interchange, so you can very easily get to Broward or, out west. And then you've got just these beautiful pockets of communities sort of in between, say, Biscayne and 95. So, as the commissioner stated, anything that we can do to try to incentivize, these mixed-use developments, it's prime. It's a prime location, and ultimately, I appreciate hearing that the commissioner is really prioritizing this, because I couldn't be more aligned with that and the importance of the ability to live where you work. Ultimately, especially in these community-based jobs such as teachers and police officers, it's super important that there not be such a gap or an attenuated sort of geographic distinction between where someone works and where someone lives that allows someone to pour into the community even more. So that's why these issues are really important. And again, it's been under the great leadership of the commissioner and prior commissioners, and in the county as a whole, Mayor Cava, that these things are being emphasized and prioritized, and it's a good thing for the county.
And we want our young professionals to also come and live in District 2.
Yes.
And for that, we need to be ready for them. My goal, my dream is for District 2 to become this, strong, resilient, thriving, place, where everyone feels welcome. So District 2 is open. So.
And it's well on its way.
Yes.
And I think that's probably a good stopping point, unless there's anything else you'd like to share. If people want to learn more about you, your district, where should they go? What is your website?
Well, they can go to the website, and then they can also call me, email me, Marleine.Bastien at Miami-Dade.gov. It's very easy, 305. What is the number again for them?
We'll look it up.
We'll look it up. 694-2779, 305-694-2779. They can call. I have offices in North Miami, 915 Northeast 125th, and I have an open door policy. You don't need you on Mondays, for example. You don't need an appointment to see me, and I'm always in the neighborhood, always in the community, because I believe that the commissioner should be accessible to the constituents, to the residents. That's my philosophy. So welcome to District 2.
Well, Commissioner, thank you, first of all, for what you do. Thank you for your service, both as an elected official, but also your social work throughout the years. And thank you for being on the program. I appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
And Member Bradford, thank you for all of your work with the CITT and also for appearing on the program. Much appreciated, sir. And folks, if you're interested in learning more about what we do at the CITT, you can visit our webpage, Miamidade.gov/CITT. If you're interested in joining Member Bradford as a member of the CITT, we do have several vacancies, and we encourage you to apply. You can find that information on our website. And if you are a regular transit rider, please also apply to be a CITT ambassador. This is a great program. We're up to 200 ambassadors now, 2 years in, which is wonderful. And basically, if you're a rider of the system, you have access to an app. You submit your feedback, your observations on that app, and you get rewarded with points every time you submit that feedback. And you can exchange those points for mobility rewards, free Uber rides, free transit passes. Great program, so explore that as well. That's all the time we have on this program. We invite you to join us here every other Thursday from 9 to 10 a.m. And finally, we want to thank our partners in this endeavor, Miami's community newspapers, for producing the program and offering this beautiful space for us to launch this program. It's been a great partnership, and hopefully it will continue. Thank you. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.